gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Medgar Evers, and it's a very tranquil scene compared to just a couple hours ago where a drive-by shooting just took place. Excuse me, I'm getting live updates as we speak. I've just been updated to the amount of casualties from this drive-by shooting, and I'm getting reports that 2 people were actually declared deceased and 27 others were shot and injured but are in stable condition. And although we must pray for the families of the fallen, we must also praise God for the aim of the super gremlin. If you want to know more about the victims of this crime, make sure you add BGZM News 17 on Patreon at www.patreon.com/blackgenzmindset. Also, don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment on the video to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this gun violence in the streets. For more hard-hitting news coverage from the community, by the community, I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
And cut.
All right, dog. Let's get the out of here before these niggas come back.
Whoa. Yo.
Whoa.
Ain't that nigga J?
Nah, that ain't me. That ain't me.
He just went live
That
with
ain't
that
me.
funky ass suit on.
That's that nigga. That's not me.
Hey, get that nigga.
Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia. Pray for me. What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy. What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time. What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time. What's good, Shadow Realm? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. And let's get into the video. All right, guys. So we have to break down this Nolan Wells situation because we have gotten some new information along with the family speaking on it this week. And I wanted to get to this story earlier, but, you know, I've got a life. So I'm getting to it now, and there have been a ton of developments since we've first spoken about the Nolan Wells situation. And for those of you who are new to the channel, or for those of you who are not familiar with this case, familiar with this story, Nolan Wells is a young black kid who was going to a community college. He was playing wide receiver. He was a football player, and he went to Horn Island, which is off of the coast of Mississippi, about 10 miles off the coast of Mississippi, isolated island, with a group of friends. They just so happened to be an all-white group, and this party or whatnot looked like it was majority white party. Long story short, he goes up missing, and people are basically saying there are racial implications since it's Mississippi. The police are, kind of rushing to rule it as an accidental drowning, and there just aren't that many answers that we've gotten as to why Nolan is no longer with us, and exactly why, there are a ton of stories, differentiating stories, miscommunications with the family from friends. So we're going to dive into all of that. We're going to break down what we're going to break down is the initial interview that the parents gave on Good Morning America, because they did give an interview on Good Morning America. It was like a 10-minute segment. There was also a full presser with attorney Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton. And a lot of people are saying that, this is a race hustle by Ben Crump and Al Sharpton and NAACP getting involved and all that kind of stuff. Was it the best move to hire Ben Crump and Al Sharpton? Potentially, because they're going to get the most eyes on it. Are we kind of expecting mistakes to be made on their end? I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think there are some critiques that I, would like to make about how the investigation has gone so far on the hand of the local police, and then also from the family's attorney side of it. Just some nitpicking from my perspective. And then we're going to, reveal the bombshell evidence or alleged bombshell evidence, because I can't necessarily confirm if this is, real deal evidence. But, we're trying to figure out what exactly happened, what's going on. So without further ado, we're probably going to get hit with some copyright type things in this one. So I am going to be saying fair use all the damn time throughout this video. So don't be annoyed and don't be alarmed. This is just kind of what we have to do. We got Michael Strahan bringing the family up. And one thing that I do want to note about Nolan's family, I genuinely like his parents. I don't think that they are, the Carmelo Anthony type parents, right? Where the parents seem very, it felt more like a grift than getting justice and getting a good attorney for the situation. But Nolan's parents, they very much seem genuine, like they want to get to the bottom of it over the money, right? And there are people donating and all that kind of stuff, and they're taking donations. You got Tyler Perry paying for the funeral, and Kaepernick donating to the family, Colin Kaepernick. So we have money flowing into this situation, yes, but ultimately, I do think that the resources from the money, hopefully, and this is wishful thinking, I believe that it's going to figure out what actually happened to Nolan Wells. So without further ado, we're going to get into this Good Morning America interview, because the parents actually identify some inconsistencies with Nolan's friends. And this is what kind of made my alarm ring on this case. I didn't want to rush to conclusions. I was always very open to the fact that, hey, maybe he actually did, drown, or maybe he dove into the water from a high point and it was shallow water, broke his neck underwater. Who knows? But now it's getting a little weird, I would say. It's getting like, it very much seems like there are people involved in this who want to hide maybe their role or their knowledge of Nolan's last whereabouts. So,
as well as their attorney, Ben Crump. And before we get started, first off, I want to thank you for being here under these circumstances. Know how extremely tough it must be. And we can express our how sorry we are for you and your family. And first question, how are you two holding up?
Taking it second by second.
Day by day. Second by second and day by day, which we all can understand. And I just want to ask you, the friends that Nolan traveled to Horn Island with, they say that he stayed behind voluntarily.
So Michael Strahan says, hey, the friends say that Nolan stayed behind voluntarily. Is this part of his character? Is this something that he would normally do? And that first point right here, his friends say that he stayed behind voluntarily and they left the island around 3:30, 4 o'clock. There was a girl that he was with named Katie who actually said that Nolan said he was going to go link up with his friends because they was leaving at a certain time. So you have two conflicting narratives there, which need to be very much highlighted. And if you look at what the police have been doing, I genuinely don't think that they are getting in depth enough with this investigation. And a lot of people are saying they're trying to, like, word around town, word around the city is that they're trying to rush into a conclusion of accidental drowning without even having the autopsy. And there's another point about the autopsy that I want to make. Okay, so the local authorities in Mississippi, they have conducted an autopsy. Ben Crump got a hold of the body and they sent the body to Washington, D.C. for an independent autopsy. The police and the local, municipality have their results of the autopsy. They have the results. Okay. They have not released those results yet. And basically it's going to go one way or the other. There's no evidence of foul play. His lungs were filled up with water and he drowned. Or it can go, his lungs aren't filled up with water. There is evidence of foul play. There's evidence that he could have been dead before he even got in the water. And, he didn't drown, and there is evidence of foul play. So, but the local municipality has not, or the local coroner has not released that information. And I do think the timing of that is interesting because I believe that they might even, because of this independent autopsy coming from DC and all this kind of stuff, I think that they're going to have to coordinate with this independent autopsy, and they might have to exchange notes because I don't think they want to rush to any conclusion on cause of death locally because this story has blown up so much. Now, if it didn't blow up, would they have just boom, wrap it up? Potentially, we don't know. But it's getting very weird, and hopefully, the police are definitely going to do their job. But as of now, you haven't gotten in-depth interrogations of everybody who was on the island, who was seen on the island, all that kind of stuff. The police aren't like going door to door asking questions. They found the body and now they're kind of trying to wrap it up and put a nice bow on it. But this story got national headway, so they weren't able to quickly, just put out the results of the autopsy, because I believe they're waiting for the independent results so that they can match up and they can say, yes, we both agree this is the cause of death. Or maybe, the local coroner doesn't want to put out whatever narrative, is going to sway this investigation. So we'll see. We'll definitely have that autopsy this week. So that's going to tell us more, and that's going to be kind of the linchpin in this. And it's going to tell us, hey, it was an accident or not.
Stay behind.
That we cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would.
I don't know why he would. We always taught him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group. Mm-hmm. Even when he was in college, he would say, Dad, well, we're gonna ride down to a party or something in another city. Now, so I was telling him, look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not separate from your group. Because I always say safety is in numbers. Mm-hmm. And he always said, yes, sir. So he knew to stay with his group. So why would he split from his group? I don't know.
So, the idea is that Nolan would have went home with the people that he came with, which makes sense. But I will say there were no water taxis. And if you guys ever been on the water, go to lakes or anything like that, usually in Georgia, people go to Lake Lanier for 4th of July. And certain destinations where these yachts dock and then they have the parties, you have to you kind of have to get a water taxi or some friend's boat to bring you back to the docks where you park your car at. So it's very interesting how this all broke down, because Um, there was no sure way that Nolan was gonna get back unless he 100% had other friends who said, "Hey, I'm going to take you home." So it really doesn't make that much sense that he would stay, especially when the girl said that no, he didn't stay. And the guy said, hey, he stayed to go talk to the girl. So I don't know, like it's conflicting right there. And we don't know his intentions. We don't know what was going on in the island. All we can go off of is the evidence that we have so far.
That would have been unusual for him to split from the group. And you said he would always check in with you. Did he check in with you that day?
So that day, no, I don't. But of course, too, they were on the boat. And usually when he is out there, which it's not uncommon, he's, I think, since.
Yeah. And when you go out on those boats, too, they don't really have service in the middle of the ocean on these remote islands. They don't have cell towers on these islands. So you're going to lose service for sure.
Last year, he's been going there occasionally with his friends. And so it would always just be like, hey, Mom, I'm back, type of thing. But this time there was no call or text from him. It was.
Okay, so that is also interesting because she said when he came back he's been to Horn Island before. When he came back, or she said when he would come back in the past, he would say, hey, Mom, I'm back. So did Nolan ever leave the island is one of the biggest questions that we have right now, because there is a theory online that, yes, he left the island. He went to a pool party and that's where they did him in. And then they took his body back to the island. And then there's a theory that, he literally just stayed and, whatever happened at the island, he ended up drowning. And I guess everybody left the island and he was the only one left there. And he didn't have nobody saying, hey, bro, where's Nolan at? He said he needed a ride. We trying to dip. Where's Buddy at? So that also is kind of weird.
From his friend.
And then too, really didn't worry a lot about it because it was his last weekend to have fun.
Yeah.
Because that Monday he had to report to school. We was preparing to take him back for camp to prepare for the season. So, we're gonna see. He wanted to have his last little hurrah before he locked down and get ready for the season. Because, like I said, the entire summer he's training. He got more serious. He started to understand what I was trying to tell him about football, not just being fun, but as you get farther in it, it becomes a business. If you want to excel, and you have to understand, and you have to understand both at the same time.
And we know, Ben, that you said that you're going to do an independent investigation.
Yes.
And you said you have Nolan's cell phone and messages were deleted. How could you tell messages were deleted?
Well, his parents got the phone back, and that's something that's important, Michael, because they tracked this phone on Life 360.
So Life 360, but whenever.
All right.
So when I received the.
So I did want to interject in this part as well. This phone situation is blowing the internet up because you have people who believe that Nolan drowned saying, and typically it's going to be on the white side where they're saying, hey, Nolan drowned. And with the phone situation where the messages were deleted, because earlier this week there were claims that messages were deleted. Here's the thing. The mother said that she and her sister got the phone back and they looked on Nolan's phone, in particular Snapchat, and there were no snaps of his experience at Horn Island. Okay. So just because there were no snaps, and they're saying that if they feel like things were deleted because Nolan was a guy who was on his phone, he made videos, he made Snapchats. But if they did take his phone and it was on the boat the whole time, then he wouldn't have been able to take the videos and do all this other type of stuff. And I got a funny comment out that 510. He says, did you cut your dreads? Nah, it's a ponytail, bro. That's funny. But okay, anyways. So were messages deleted on the Snapchat? That is a big question. In my opinion, if you go to Snapchat and things were deleted, here's some things you can do on Snapchat that will make it seem like messages were deleted. Clear snap feed. So you can go to manage your friendship with somebody, clear Snap feed, and it'll clear it from your feed, right? Your immediate feed. But if you go back to that person and click on their name and then text them something, you may be able to still see the history depending on your friendship setting in that specific chat. And every specific chat on Snapchat with a friend has a different disappearing message setting. So some have after 24 hours, some have after, viewing, some have after, you can set it to whatever you want. So some friends, Nolan might have delete after viewing, and then some friends, Nolan might have delete after 24 hours. And then also, if you do delete messages, you can see this message was deleted in your feed, this message. But once you refresh it, like once you get out of that chat and then you go back into it, it's not going to tell you, hey, this message was deleted, this message was deleted. So the question is, were there messages deleted in the phone? What did she see evidence of messages on Snapchat deleted in the phone? Here's the thing. The claim that phone messages on Snapchat were deleted, I wish she wouldn't have said this. I think she meant it was uncommon for Nolan to have not taken videos and images and been interacting on Snapchat. Because to say it was deleted, you have to kind of have evidence of that. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to say, oh, I looked in this chat feed with Evan or the other kid and it said message deleted, right? So they can go back in that chat feed and look in it if they message those individual boys, but that's going to take, you're going to have to, I'm sure it's very difficult for her to even contact any of those people who were with him on that day. So somebody, maybe the attorney can take the phone, message them with a question mark, and then read whatever previous text there were, but you can clear that from the feed. And then when you message them back, there is a potential that some messages will reappear, depending if they were saved or depending on your chat settings in Snapchat. So that's a little minutia that people aren't really acknowledging. So for the camp that says, man, they didn't delete no messages, she never said that they deleted messages. She just said it was uncommon for Nolan not to take videos and Snapchats of an event like that. So I mean, that's pretty much true. That's pretty much what she said. She says they feel like messages were deleted, but there is no actual evidence. Like if you go into your Messenger app on iPhone, you can see messages deleted, right? Even if you delete them, you can go to the little tab in the corner and then go to recently deleted, and they stay for the next 30 days, unless you go into recently deleted and then delete them from then, and then they may be lost in the cloud. Right. I don't know what happens after you delete recently deleted messages, but I'm pretty sure they're gone forever. So that could have been wiped as well. I would look in Messenger app previously deleted or recently deleted, and maybe they didn't wipe it from the recently deleted as well. But these kids are tech savvy. So if they did do something to him, I'm sure they tried to cover as many tracks as they could. But it looks like there are some cracks in their story. It's just you can pull all this stuff back up too with certain softwares like Cellbrite. Cellbrite can pull up all the deleted shit. So maybe they want to do that and go that route.
Phone call from Warren. I immediately called my friend Toshima and I said, hey, have you guys seen Nolan? Because her two sons, Jalen and Javon, like they grew up together. They played City League sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, like, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat. So the Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So
this is a very interesting aspect as well. The Snap location looks different from the Life 360. The Life 360 is going to be the actual location. The Snap location is determined by the permissions set by the user. So if the permissions were set to, only show my location while using, or only show my location on this or that or whatever, they could have turned off that setting in Snapchat once the phone departed the boat, especially if there was no service. All they had to do was turn off the location settings in Snapchat. So it would appear that Nolan's phone was still on the island, when in all actuality, the phone was on land. But these kids did have his phone, which is extremely suspicious. That is one of the biggest, that's one of the biggest things for me, is that they had his phone and they had his car keys. And it's like, if you got his phone and his car keys, why would you leave him on an island with no phone and car keys? That's, I mean, no friend is gonna do that, in my opinion. So that right there is kind of wild.
I pulled up Life 360. It was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been. Like it had, I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. Like I'm not, he's like, but no, he didn't come back with us.
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So we tracked it, and my friend Tashima went and picked it up.
So they tracked the phone, and the phone was at one of the boys' house.
It wasn't like they said we got his phone. They tracked it, and that highlights all these contradictions, Michael. The fact that they said Nolan was talking to a young woman, and she said that he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys said that he said he was going to stay with her. And
yeah, so that, that aspect as well is very concerning. One of the girls says, hey, the girl Katie he was talking to says, he said he was going to go get on the boat with the boys, and the boys are saying that he stayed to go talk to her. So which one is it?
So that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And so then his phone ends up missing. I don't know any teenagers, Michael Strahan, who says, if you believe that story, I'm gonna stay behind and I'm gonna leave my phone.
All right, so the give me my freaking phone video, I'm gonna show you guys that, because there's been a lot of, discrepancy with that video as well. And this is some of the evidence that is surfacing after. Okay, so, and then people are also claiming that the friends lawyered up, which I don't think you do when you're innocent of something. But I can't confirm nor deny that the friends lawyered up. That's just what people on the streets are saying. But this video of Nolan saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? Obviously, he used the F word instead of freaking. But, trying to make it television friendly, Ben Crump was doing. In this video, this is the argument. And you're going to have to turn your speakers up as loud as you can, because it's going to be hard to hear, because the argument was so far. And we're trying to determine where was that argument happening and who was actually speaking in this. So let's watch. So he just said, give me my mother effing phone. What the F are you doing? Now, we don't know if this is Nolan, right? It's going to be extremely difficult to tell. And they're saying in this little crowd right here, this is where the fight is happening. Now, there are other people saying there were other altercations going on the island. So we don't know if this was Nolan, but we do know that his phone was taken. So that makes people think it was Nolan, because his phone was taken by the kids that he came to Horn Island with. So you hear, give me my mother effing phone. What the F were you doing? So again, we don't really know if this was actually Nolan, but this is what people are saying. So I'm not going to act like it was Nolan or it wasn't. This is just someone saying this is video taken from the island and there was an argument. Okay. So this is just slow-mo. All right. So let's get back to the Good Morning America. I just wanted to show you what video he was actually talking about. So let's keep going.
I mean, no young person leaves their cell phone. And so then there's so many things their parents were telling us about. Even why didn't his body wash up with the tide on Sunday? Why would it come on Monday? It's not adding up. And
yeah, so they're saying, why would his body wash up on Sunday if he drowned? If he drowned on the 4th, why would his body wash up on Monday when the search was already out on Sunday? And, you know, people are saying maybe the body was placed there. Again, I can't say that that is what the case was. People are just asking questions as to why his body washed up then. Because if his body washed up to shore, that means he had to have drowned pretty deep. Like wash up to shore 2 days later, that means he drowned in pretty deep water or pretty far off of the coast of the island. So some people are saying, oh, then maybe they kicked him off the boat and made him chase the boat. Like that's what people are saying. I don't know. And that's why I really want the autopsy results, because that's going to tell us everything we need to know.
that is the problem when you think about the history of Mississippi.
Yeah, so there's so many questions that need to be answered. And is there anything you'd like people to know about Nolan? What would you like them to know about your son?
No,
okay.
Nolan, take your time. Nolan was very loving. He was liked by all. It was not a friend he couldn't make.
No, we'll be right back with more for the parents of Nolan Wells, an attorney.
All right, so here we go.
And I want you to please continue to tell us what you want the world to know about your son.
So Nolan was just like this bright light, right? Walk into a room, his smile, his energy was just so infectious. Like it's almost like he drew you into him. And he was just one of those people, like he always wanted everyone to be included. He didn't want anyone to feel left out. I remember one of his teachers emailing us. I can't remember what grade he was in, but basically it was math class. They had a special needs student and she asked a question and Nolan got everyone to put their hands down because he wanted that student to answer. And so student answers the question and she was like, Christine, the classroom, Nolan went crazy and everyone else started going crazy, just celebrating that child. Making them feel included. And that was the person he was. Like he loved everyone. And I always told Nolan, like, you have to be careful when you have such a big heart like that. I love that God blessed you with that, but you have to be careful with that because that it's not always returned, that type of love. But he was just genuinely a good person. Like I always say, all the best parts of me are with him.
And Dad, anything else you want to add?
It's just, he's going to be really missed. I know a lot of his teammates, they all look to him as a leader. He's more like a silent leader. Not real big on words, more action, which is kind of like I was. I really wasn't real big on talking. I really wanted to show you and you follow me and people follow him. And it just gravitated. He put in the work, he worked hard, and he knew he was focused on what he wanted. And he wanted to make life better for, his family. He wanted to have his own family. He used to say, Dad, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. I said, well, son, you got to take it one step at a time. Slow down, let's go, let's walk this thing out. Let's train, let's sign our deals, let's make these teams, make these camps, put the work in, and everything else will work out.
So as far as Nolan goes, I really do think that he was a good kid. Again, we're still trying to figure out, with these types of parties, we also have to be real with ourselves. There were most likely drugs and alcohol involved. So could he have gotten drunk and just drowned, just being drunk as hell? That's a possibility. My question is, why didn't anybody see him drown? Like, that would be something that I would want to know.
Even his baby brother, their bond got even stronger because now I have a big brother that he's finna do something. So now I want to outdo that. So his focus and his confidence has got even better. So I was looking forward to both of them having outstanding years.
Seasons,
He seemed like he inspired in the home and he inspired
Absolutely.
outside of the home. And Attorney Crump, where do we go from here? What's next?
Well, the deleted messages that Christina was going to briefly touch on, we want to get the phone and figure that out.
Backtrack on that. When we finally got his phone, me and my sister went through the phone. We went in his Snapchat. He had 2 accounts, absolutely nothing. It wasn't even 24 hours, which is how long videos and pictures stay in Snapchat. And I was just like, that can't be. Like, I've seen Nolan whenever he snaps, like when he goes and he's having fun, like he does videos. Like, there was absolutely nothing, no saved videos. And even my sister was like, yeah, that's suspicious,
Michael, we having an independent autopsy done at the behest of his family. Colin Kaepernick helped pay for the independent autopsy. We flew his body up from Mississippi to DC because they wanted an autopsy done by a person with no interaction with the Mississippi law enforcement, because there's an issue of trust here that is really important. And the fact that they keep trying to say, suggesting it was a drowning, but nobody out there reported him drowning, it's not adding up, Michael Strahan. It is not adding up.
And honestly, we are doing this because at the end of the day, I would hope any parent would fight for their kids to find out if anything happened, what did happen. So we just want honesty and transparency. We want a thorough investigation. We want that same respect that would be given to anybody else. And that's it. We just want answers.
Well, we
All right, guys. Sorry about that. Having some technical difficulties. Again, hit the super chat. Support the financing of a new desktop because this desktop be pissing me off. Sometimes it'll just randomly go out. I've got so many videos on it, so much storage issues. But yeah. So basically that was that of the Good Morning America. They did go on CBS. So I want to play that as well before we do the hour presser. And we're going to tackle this pretty quickly as best we can. So until we get to the bombshell information that is alleged, because I'm still curious about it. Let's watch though.
And this morning we're focusing. He didn't.
So let's get straight to it.
Him missing that very night, but tragically, a few days later, his body was found. Now there are a lot of questions about what happened to him, and his family is demanding answers. Nolan's parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, and their attorney, Ben Crump, are joining us now in studio to talk more about this. Thank you both and Attorney Crump for being here under these especially difficult circumstances that no parent ever wants to live through. Christine and Elmore, can you help us understand what your understanding is of the timeline and what questions you both still have about what actually happened to Nolan?
So he basically, the night before, all the boys got together, stayed the night. 4th of July, they launched the boat. They went to the island. And that was that. I was expecting hey, we're back, like he normally does. Didn't happen. Get a phone call around 11, 4th of July. Hey, have you talked to Nolan? And I'm like, no, where is he at? So then my friend Tashima was so helpful in tracking his phone down because everyone was looking at the Snapchat location because all the kids follow each other. But I was looking at Life 360 and I'm like, well, I don't understand because I'm literally looking at his phone like it's at someone's house. So thankfully my friend did go grab the phone for us as we were kind of doing the other part of it, which was notifying, the local authorities, trying to figure out.
So they did have his phone and didn't offer it up. A lot of people are saying that, there should be some type of investigation as to why they had his phone and why they didn't offer it up when they realized he was missing. But the family was able to retrieve the phone.
Out who we needed to speak to do the missing persons report, because I know that needs to be done as soon as possible, especially when we're talking about water. We wanted to make sure that we could try to find him, and that was the goal.
Who called you first initially, and how well do you know the people that Nolan was hanging out with that day? How familiar are you with them and their families?
So their families, we have not met. So Warren was the one who made the phone call, and he did contact the Coast Guard as well, which I know there's some discrepancies now with that. But he did contact them, and I was going back and forth with.
So let's run it back.
He did contact the Coast Guard. So their families, we have not met. So
they haven't met the family, but the boys have been to the house apparently.
Warren was the one who made the phone call, and he did contact the Coast Guard as well, which I know there's some discrepancies now with that. But he did contact them, and I was going back and forth with.
So Warren, one of the boys, contacted the Coast Guard. So that's a good sign.
With the Sheriff's Department and the City of Ocean Springs, who do we talk to? So then it turned into I had to contact DMR, and DMR took the information, but then reverted me back to Ocean Springs Police Department. So it's kind of like, where do we go from here? So Jackson County basically was like, hey, we're gonna take it over. We'll go ahead and do the report.
Well, the mother of one of the boys who was with Nolan apparently posted on social media that Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and then return inland later with another group of friends. Were you made aware of that plan beforehand? Is that something that Nolan would have done or would do often?
No.
No, he wouldn't. Nolan was always taught to stay with the group. If you leave with me, you come back with me. So that I don't understand. And with me being a parent, if I was in that situation, I would have told him, you're going to get back on this boat with me because I don't want to have to answer to your parents if something happened to you.
Right.
So you're going to get on the boat. And if you still don't want to get on the boat, someone give me a phone so I can make a phone call to get your parents on the phone so they can tell you to get on the boat. But at no time will I leave someone else's child especially on the island.
So you think he got left behind then?
Yes. I don't believe he decided to stay on the island by himself. That it just doesn't, that's not his character.
Attorney Crump, you have a lot of questions about what happened, ranging from the fact that the police very quickly declared that they didn't see any evidence of foul play, but then said that they were now investigating, to the timeline, the idea of where the phone could potentially be. Help me understand.
Vlad, there are so many glaring contradictions, and that's why so many people all across America are chiming in saying this is not adding up. I mean, you have them saying he was talking to a young lady, and she said that he said, I'm going to get back on the boat with the boys. Well, the boys say he said that, no, I'm going to stay with her. I mean, which is it? And then on top of that, you talk about this video that's out there that shows this apparent argument going on where Nolan says, where's my freaking phone? What are you freaking doing? And then his phone turns up missing. I don't know any 18-year-old, if you go with their...
So, you know, again, with the video, this is a critique of Attorney Ben Crump. With the video, we don't necessarily know if that was Nolan speaking. And then there's a friend who came on TMZ, even said that wasn't Nolan, is what he said. So that one, you know, TMZ, they're definitely going to copyright. But one of his friends does say that with that argument, there were other groups on the island who were arguing, and Nolan necessarily may not have been the one who had been captured in the video.
Story that he said he was going to stay behind. I'm going to leave my cell phone behind. It's not adding up. And so those are the things that his mother and father are saying, we're not accepting this. He was a college athlete. He was in superb shape. And so he's a good swimmer. And you see the video of all those people out there. If he's drowning, nobody's going to help.
But the video that you're talking, sorry, Nano, the video that you're talking, go ahead.
I was going to say, you reposted that video. Now, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, they are calling for people to send in any videos or anything that they may have seen. What are they communicating with you about the investigation and what they are getting from people?
They haven't communicated much at this point. In fact, his mother, as she said, they had to track down the cell phone, and she can talk about the deleted messages that are very concerning to her because it's relevant. All of it is relevant to finding out how Nolan Wells ended up dead.
Let me ask you really quickly on that video that you posted. Are you sure that that is Nolan's voice that we can hear on the video?
Well, and there are kids. Kids are talking, and kids are always talking that there was an argument. So we have independent investigators doing it, and we get an independent autopsy. Colin Kaepernick paid.
So he was asked if he's sure that was Nolan's voice in the video, and he doesn't really answer directly because he can't be sure of that. And that's why I don't like them saying, oh, yeah, this was an argument that Nolan had, even though we don't necessarily know if it was Nolan whose voice could he be heard in that video. So, you know, I definitely think they need to be way more critical of the narrative and evidence that they do put out, just so it doesn't feel like they're kind of grasping at straws to create whatever narrative they would prefer the outcome to have be, rather than just following the facts. But again, the autopsy is going to be the biggest indicator of what happens, and that is what everybody's going to have to base their and it could be a mix of the independent and the county autopsy, the Jackson County autopsy, that we can base our ultimate opinion on.
For his body to be flown up to Washington, D.C. from Mississippi because his parents have some distrust when you think about the history of Mississippi.
Oh, yes. And Christine, going back to that cell phone, you said you were able to recover it.
Yes.
So you saw clear signs that there were deleted
So there were
conversations?
definitely concerns just because Nolan is always on Snapchat. He will be like, hey, mom, smile, you know, put a peace sign. So when me and my sister went through it, there was nothing.
There was
no saved videos. There was nothing in there. She went to the secondary account. There was nothing in there. And I know, you know, when kids get together for events like that, you know, they're snapping. They're making videos, taking pictures. And so I'm just like, where is it? Because it hadn't even been 24 hours when we started looking, which usually with Snapchat, it goes away once you hit that 24-hour mark.
Elmore, can you, for all of us who are so concerned about what happened here, just tell us a little bit more about your son. Who was he? What kind of man was he growing up to be?
He was very respected by the community. He was very respected by a lot of people. There wasn't a friend that he couldn't make. People gravitated to Nolan. That was just the type of person he was. He was I would say a silent leader when on the field and on the basketball court. People would follow his actions and not his words. I'm a person, I believe action is more important than words. You can tell me 1,000 times you love me, but show me you love me. If you are my real friends and I'm giving you this trust, you need to get it back to me by making me. Making me get on that boat. It's 3 of them, one of me. Yeah, we may tussle, but when we get back to the mainland, either we're gonna tussle some more, or we're gonna go party. So, and same with the adult. If that was your child and I was the one there, you would have wanted me to make your child get back on the boat. So it was a lot of bad decisions made. I don't think my son volunteered to stay on that island. I can't believe that.
All right. Thank you both for being here. We're so sorry about this. And we hope that there is some news.
All right. So to address the video, there has been a kid who's come out, who's Nolan's friend, and he claims that was him arguing. That was him going back and forth. So this is the kid, Trayston Shepard. He says it was him who was yelling, "Give me my freaking phone back." So we've debunked now. I would say this is officially debunking the narrative that was Nolan saying, "Give me my phone back." So let's read this. A moment that started out as a disagreement between Trayston Shepard and his girlfriend has been at the center of a swirl of questions about the tragic death of 18-year-old Mississippi football player Nolan Wells. The video posted to social media of a group of young people seemingly in a heated altercation has been believed to be the last time Wells was pictured or heard on video before his disappearance and death, which has made national news. But Shepard, a close friend of Wells, says what really happened in the video isn't how it's been portrayed. At around 3:30 p.m. on July 4th, Shepard says he was with a large group of friends from high school, including Wells, to celebrate the holiday. Shepard and his family took a boat to Horn Island, a barrier island off the coast of Mississippi, where he planned to meet up with Wells and some other friends from high school. The friend often took the 45-minute ride over to Horn Island on weekends to hang out and has been there since that morning. Shepard says he was waist-deep in the water surrounding Horn Island, having a disagreement with his girlfriend that afternoon when a young man his age walked by and criticized their conversation. The man was an acquaintance from a nearby town who had not come over on the boat with Shepard or Wells. I told him he needed to mind his own business, Shepard, 20, told me Saturday, a week after the disagreement. Shepard says the exchange became heated and that he and the other man ended up getting into a physical altercation. Shepard's uncle, who had raised him like a father, told Shepard to get out of the water and onto his boat so that they could head back home. Shepard complied, but once he got to the boat, he changed his mind and decided he wanted to go back. Shepard's friends had, by that point, began defending him back on shore. Around that time, another adult on a nearby boat started filming the video, later posting it on social media after news of Wells' disappearance broke. In the video, you hear somebody yelling, "This is me." Oh, sorry, yelling, "That is me." Shepard says, "It's me yelling. My exact words, get me off this fucking boat. I wanted to fight and I'd felt like I hadn't had my fair share." So you know, when you hear that, "Get me off this fucking boat," it could potentially have been mistaken for "Give me my fucking phone." Definitely, "Get me off this fucking boat. Give me my fucking phone." It's muffled. There's wind. And now that he says, "Oh, that's what I said," it very much sounds way more like "Get me off this fucking boat." And he's saying he wanted to go tee off on them boys. Shepard's girlfriend says she had gone over to the beach when the altercation moved there. And Shepard's uncle says a group of older adults stepped in and broke up the fight between the younger adults on shore. Shepard's girlfriend and uncle corroborated this story, as did a family friend who can be seen in the video trying to calm Shepard down. He wanted to get off the boat and go fight. The dude who got into it with him, says a family friend who asked not to be named. Nobody knows what Tristan was saying better than me because he was screaming it in my face. Once the Wells story began making headlines, the grainy video quickly went viral. People online speculated that Wells was one of the people standing in the group, seemingly in a heated discussion. Wells was last seen wearing blue swim trunks like a young man in the group. Shepard says the man in the video, who people think is Wells, is too short to be his 6'2" friend. He says Wells is not shown in the video at all, that he was just out of frame, hanging out in the water. Shepard has been speaking with law enforcement since Wells went missing and gave his full version of events of that day and of the video to local police officers on Friday, July 10th. Shepard says he has also communicated with Wells' family. The video has been at the center of the discussion around Wells' death, as many believe was the last time he was seen alive, and showed that he was on the island when the video was taken around 3 p.m. So that debunks what Ben Crump was saying about this video being Nolan, which you got to get your facts straight, man, especially if you're going to be an attorney. You know, putting out this information without confirming it is controversial, to say the least. Then we have the friend Javon. We got a friend Javon who spoke on it. So let's break Javon's little interview with TMZ down.
Talking about?
Yes.
So, but is that Nolan in the video?
I can't tell. It's too far away. But in that video, I feel like the voices are too clear. Like from the side, it's too clear for it to be that far away, for it to be Nolan arguing. And then also that altercation, it sounds just like my other friend that got into the altercation on the boat. And they were trying to, like, as he was in that altercation, I was calming him down. They were trying to get him out off the island. They were trying to get him back to land because he was just losing it. So
describe that. That's kind of interesting. What was that about?
He was just very hostile. Like he was just like really like mad. Like they were just trying to, like the parents on that boat were trying to get him out.
I'm curious if the police have. I know they said they're still investigating. Did any investigators ever speak to you about what you saw that day?
No, sir.
Really? Okay. Cops have not talked to you yet.
No, sir.
That's odd.
I don't see why the cops would have to talk to me. I mean, obviously, like, you know, like I had said my plea, like, because whenever I had talked to the people at Sunherd, it was whenever, you know, the body was discovered and the autopsy people and all those people were there.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm surprised. Because you knew Nolan well, and you knew that he was friends with these guys who were the last ones to be around him before his body was found. And I would think they would at least want to know, hey, just the things we're asking. Right. You know, did you ever hear of any of this stuff? It's odd to me. Just to gather information. Yeah. The cops wouldn't have contacted you. Yeah.
All right. So that's pretty much it. There's nothing else that comes from that. All right. So let's see. Did we want to break down the full press conference? I mean, it's pretty long and I ain't got time for all that, but I do want to present this quote unquote and I'm saying quote unquote evidence. Don't know if it's true. Not going to confirm that it's, I'm not going to say, oh, it's true or not. But Ben Crump has now posted this on his story as well, along with other stories, which now it's not loading, of course. So let's go to the story. So, image of Nolan and his aunt and mother. Let's see. This lady says she was parked right next to Nolan and Wells group swipe slides. It says, we were parked right next to them and we were parked right next to them and he was nowhere in sight when we left at 7:30. So let me go to this clip. So she said he was nowhere in sight when they left at 7:30. So let's see. Caitlin Brochard with some insight on the Nolan Wells situation. So there you have it. She says they were parked right next to him. They didn't see, he was nowhere in sight at 7:30. She posts a boat, posts what believed to be Nolan. So this woman is putting out her information, evidence. She said he was nowhere to be found at 7:30. So either he had drowned already or he had already left the island. So those are the only conclusions. So now people are talking about boat cleaning. Says, I knew that. So let me share this real quick. I knew that the boat was cleaned at 3 a.m. In front of Judge Cole's house 3 days ago. As a judge, you very well know that the boat is part of the investigation. So White Lotus Living is saying that the boat was cleaned at 3 a.m. on that same day. Okay. And, you know, people were saying the boat was taking on water, all this kind of stuff. That's why they left early. So I don't know how accurate this is that the boat was cleaned on 3 a.m. This is just, I guess, witnesses or somebody saying that. Let's see.
Okay, now this raises some alarms. I don't know if this is true, but I've just read that they saw these boys.
Here's my issue. I don't know if this is true. I don't like that Ben Crump, the attorney, is posting these off-the-wall theories. Now, again, I will post it because I'm not an attorney and we're just trying to, you know, just see what everybody's saying about it. But I don't know about the boat being cleaned. This sounds like another narrative that somebody online created. Let's keep watching.
He's cleaning the boat at 3 a.m. in front of the judge's house. And from my knowledge, the judge's son.
Okay, so.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me go to the post and see exactly what she's saying. All right. Now, here's a piece of evidence. Boat should have been seized. So people in the comments are already engaging.
I don't know if this is true, but I've just read that they saw these boys cleaning the boat at 3 a.m. in front of the judge's house. And from my knowledge, the judge's son was not the boat owner. So now why did you bring the boat to the judge's house? And why are you cleaning it at 3 a.m. when y'all got back at 4? Now we have some questions. If this is true, now we need to start sounding the alarms because what's going on? And we've been knew the cops fucked up by not talking to him and all that. But the boat cleaning at 3 a.m. in front of the judge's house, magnifying glass. Let's look into this. Okay, now this raises some alarms. I don't know if.
All right, so again, we don't know if this is true or not. This is just some theory from some TikTok person. I don't know who whitelotusliving.com is. But so this is the big bombshell, quote unquote, and I will say quote unquote evidence that I guess has now been I don't know if she posted this or it was a post and delete. So she's posting what Ben Crump posted of her post, but it's not on her page anymore, which is interesting. And there's really no interaction with this woman's page of any Nolan Wells content. No comments. But it was posted on her page, and now, or no, I guess she reposted this Ben Crump post. I don't know where the Debbie Ventura comes into this. I don't know if they're saying she originally posted this or what. But here's a situation. They're saying this video or this picture was taken on the 5th of July. And they're saying this is after he left Horn Island. He was at this pool party. This video or this picture was taken on the 5th of July. Now, I do want to look into this image. We don't necessarily know when this was taken, but if you go to the guy who took the video, or sorry, who posted the picture, Evan Noel, which, I mean, I don't even have to show you. His page is private now. So we can't really see exactly when it was posted. It says 21 hours ago from, I guess, the 4th. But this is the image that was posted. It shows Nolan. Now, we don't know when this image was taken. Here's the friend, one of the friends, Evan. The boy looks scared in the water. I ain't gonna lie, he looks scared. But it appears everybody's smiling but Evan, who looks frightened. I ain't gonna lie, he looks frightened in this image. But well, I guess that's not, it's another guy. I don't know if that's Evan or not, but this kid is, he looks scared, but maybe he's just like posing scared for the picture just to be funny. They're saying that this was taken on the 5th, that night after everybody arrived back. So now you got Tariq Nasheed weighing in. I don't know why he zoomed into this. How is no one mentioning this 50-year-old at the party? Yeah, I mean, he may not be 50. He might just be a very developed young guy. It's dangerous to scroll on Twitter without filtering. So let me unshare this. So yeah, so people zoomed in on this, and this kid looks frightened with this man behind him. You know, I thought that was pretty amusing. And then people are questioning. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I thought when I first saw this picture, I was like, is this an AI picture or is this a real picture? And I asked Grok, and I don't know. Grok didn't even answer me. Honestly, he didn't want to give me an answer. Now, I'm trying to figure out how this could be AI, how this could be manipulated, but I don't see really any inconsistencies with physical features. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I'm looking at the hands. Looks like they've got all their fingers. Doesn't look like any body parts are just randomly, you know, placed in odd places for it to be AI. So this picture might very well be real. Now, Evan Noel has made his Instagram private, so we can't really tell. But yeah, I mean, he made the Instagram private, so we can't really get the original image. So if you look at this, I can't really see any inconsistencies as far as AI, so it could be a real image. When I first saw it, I thought, is this AI? Or is somebody trying to create a narrative? because the story that was posted along with this image is pretty gruesome. And we will share this because this is a narrative going around. Is it true? Is it false? I'm not sure. And honestly, I'm leaning toward it very much seems damn near like a fabrication. This particular story that's being floated, because it would involve a lot of moving pieces and a lot of people being quiet, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 26 confirmed. There may have been more people there. So let's see. So we're gonna now this is a crazy, so bear with me, guys. Like, if we can clearly say, hey, this is absolute bullshit, whatever. I'm not gonna act like this is just a real ass story. But again, this is what being floated on social media. Now, this is the craziest conspiracy that I've heard yet. And this is what this is the craziest conspiracy I've heard yet, and this is what is now the new narrative floating around. I'm not gonna say that it's true because it just sounds so fantastical, but hey, we'll listen up. This is what the new narrative now, and again, we'll see what the autopsy. I'm not gonna act like this is true, but I just want to put out what's being shared about this story. I don't know who this woman is or how the hell she would know any of this, but hey, she's theorizing. Let's listen up.
I woke up to photo evidence that Nolan Wells was not left at the lake. This is a photo from the party that everyone said that these children went to after the lake. That is clearly Nolan Wells right there.
So I wish they had a timestamp of this photo to say, hey, when was this photo taken? And this is a slide photo. So there's 3 slides. So all of these photos could have been taken at different times of the day and taken out, during the weekend. So this could be before he even, left to Horn Island. It could have been the night before, or it could have been the night after. We don't know.
Someone on Facebook said, bro.
So this Facebook post has, it's been, I'm not going to say that it's been debunked, but I don't know why people are corresponding this Facebook post to the Nolan situation. And then somebody even said, oh, well, this Facebook post wasn't talking about Nolan. So I don't know what is real or fake. Facebook, they come with their own crazy narratives as well. But this post is referring to him as No-No, which I don't know if people referred to Nolan as No-No. So that, it's possible, but let's see. We'll break down what the Facebook post is claiming.
No didn't get into a fight at the island. It was our other friend. No and Wyatt did get into an altercation right after that, not even 10 minutes later, because Wyatt took his phone and Evan was trying to be hard. Nolan was definitely screaming, give me my fucking phone back, nigga. What the hell wrong with you? So they all calmed down. So that's when we head to Evan's house because he was throwing a pool party. So yes, No came to the party, and yes, we were drinking. But Wyatt and Evan and Morgan and Andrew was really high, and I think they was trying to get Lucy and Natalia to try some as well. But yes, they got into it again at the pool party. It didn't end until almost 1 a.m. I know Evan's mom kicked us all out. Once they started fighting, it was Andrew and Evan and Wyatt and Warren was basically recording and laughing, saying, get him. And all I could hear was No screaming, Mom. So yes, I tried helping. Then his mom came out screaming, yelling, drunk, make us leave, and was saying she was going to call the cops on us if we didn't leave her house. But they didn't let No leave. And No was by the basketball goal that was inside the pool. He was leaning over beside it, gasping for air and spitting up blood. But now his mom knows I just got off the phone with her. Someone else in the comments said, I didn't know what to believe. I seen 2 other videos and they mentioned nothing about him being in the water trying to get on the boat. They both said there was a fight and he was hit with a pole and they saw it was Wyatt. They also said that his death took place at someone's house, like a garage or shed, but it was dark. They also said his body was placed back on the island. It was stored in a boat. She also stated they urinated on him. One thing that did stick out was that they didn't know he was recording until after they realized he was dead and she saw them erase messages from his phone. Maybe that's why his phone pinged at the friend's house at the hour that it did when his mom was trying to reach him. I don't know what to believe. I'm just going to wait on the reports to come back. Now, this is information that corroborates previous stories. We already know that the boy said that he was going to stay with the girl, Katie. Katie says no, he left with his boys, right? Then we also know that someone that is a neighbor for those boys, whoever had the boat, literally came out to say that they spent the whole next day cleaning that damn boat. Then the mom, they didn't just drop the phone off to the mom had to track the phone. Then when the father got there to grab the phone, they still were lying. No, when the father went to go grab the keys, they were lying, saying they didn't know where the keys were. That would also explain how Nolan's dad says that they went out there the morning after July 4th and looked in the area where they said they found Nolan's body and he was nowhere to be found. And he believes that if he was actually out there, there was no way that they could have missed him. So that also corroborates that story because they said that he died at someone's house and they put the body back. And if you check my most recent repost, there is a white man laughing, saying that they basically have meetings every 6 months and they know what they're doing when they take our children out there with them to go camping and swimming and talking about, we know you can't do it. We be telling him, swim, boy, swim. And he's laughing. It's on my repost. You can go watch the video for yourself. Now, all of this is alleged, but I have no choice but to start to believe those comments because if Nolan was recording like it said, and they didn't realize till after they had done what they did to him, it would make sense why they were apprehensive about giving the phone back because they did not want the videos of what they were doing to him to resurface. Please repost this video, comment, share. Nolan deserves justice. And I have too big of a platform to sit here and allow this case to go on and not say anything. It has been tearing my heart up. Justice for Nolan.
All right. So that story about Nolan being chased around by the friends and all that kind of stuff, like I said, very hard. I mean, it's hard to believe because I feel like if that was the case, they definitely would have been arrested. But sorry. All right. So the mother responds to this person claiming that they knew Nolan, and she says she is not a close friend of our son's, and I've never spoken or met with her. So she debunked that woman's claim, but that was the fantastical narrative that was floated around. Now with the Evan Noel picture, that picture still could have been true because Evan was friends with Nolan. That's proven. There's multiple screenshots. But when was that picture taken? That's the big question. So this Alasia Spencer person is a liar, in my opinion. Looks like she's trying to throw herself into the investigation and use that image of Nolan at the pool to basically say, hey, I'm close to them, and yes, I was there, whatever. Which is very reckless thing to say. I just don't I don't see it. I don't see that story being necessarily true. Now, there could be parts of it that, are true. I don't know which parts, but it looks like the Alasia story has been debunked. Okay, because it seems like she tried to bring in facts that we already know about the case into her own little narrative. But Ben Crump did post the image of Evan with Nolan at the pool party, and they're trying to say this image was taken after leaving Horn Island. Now, do we know? We don't know. We'd have to see the metadata of the original image, which would be located on Evan's phone. And, you know, I'm sure if this is a legit lead, the police hopefully would follow up with that. But this is kind of the narrative floating around. We should get the autopsy results this week. Very interested to see what comes of the autopsy, because that's going to tell us everything we need to know. But I would say my most concerning things with the Nolan situation is they had his phone. The dad came to collect his phone. When they came to collect his phone, they act like they didn't know where the phone was. Then, you know, the girl calls in while the dad is there. She says, oh, Nolan's phone is on the Xbox. And they find his phone on the Xbox or PlayStation, whatever console they had, video game console. The phone was on top of that. And then they also had his keys. I don't know where his car was at. So will the autopsy be publicly made available? So apparently the independent autopsy will be made available. And with the, you know, high profile situation of this case, the Jackson County coroner's office may also make it, public. And somebody saying, oh, the key was on the Xbox too. Okay, so the key was on the phone with the Xbox, or it was the car keys on the Xbox? Which one is it? The dad said it in the little presser. I just can't remember exactly what the details were, but they did. What they say? The phone, the car was in the driveway. Oh yeah, the car was in the driveway. Not be the phone. What? I can't tell what you're saying right there, Mayo. But they did describe, it's in that long ass presser, how they found the phone. So I could, yeah, let's just jump to it really quickly. I don't remember who described. I think the father stepped in to describe what happened with the phone. So let's see. Okay. Is this the mom talking? Okay, so the dad. Okay, here we go. So this is the situation with Nolan's car keys.
A few of his friends, they were already there, and they were at the door in the house, asking questions. So when I walked up, they were getting, you know, things were getting kind of tense. So I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I don't do this to me right now. I need them to kind of trust me so they can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. So the guy, he's in one of the pictures, but he came out of the room, half asleep or whatever, I think Jax or whatever. And I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys so I can get his car. I said, he's like,
His car was in the yard.
His car's parked in the yard.
So the car's parked in the yard because Nolan slept over their house the night before.
So he was like, I don't know, man. Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's keys so I can take his car home? He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay. So at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because then that would be a whole other situation. So walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jax guy's Xbox in the house because apparently she was there with him earlier. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you done lied to me. So now I'm really like in distress with you. But as far as their night goes, if I knew anyone who had a boat, I would have went out that night looking for my son. We tried.
Yeah, so as you guys can see, the car keys was on the Xbox. And then here's the mother describing the phone situation. It was her and her sister that went.
And let me say again that we're standing with this family till the very end and make sure we're dealing with justice. Let's first hear from the mother, Christine Wansley.
First of all, I want to say thank you, everyone, for being here. This is not how I wanted the world.
Okay, let's just.
And Nolan was in jail. Like,
she's talking
he
about
just
Nolan.
wanted time. How you not that. Unfortunately, that is just a matter of fact. There have been many cases, many instances, did not like, made him us. He was really a peacemaker. He never wanted that 18 moment.
Okay, let's
Kid,
keep going.
especially to our friend and who when I called her.
Okay.
So
Here's the
our
phone
friend
situation.
actually, when I called her, Nolan is best friends with her two sons, Jalen and Javon. When I called her, I said to Shima, have you seen Nolan? He's missing. No one has seen him. No one has talked to him. The boys were actually with her sons. So they opened up their Snapchat because a lot of the kids do have their locations where they're tracking one another. So one of the boys says, well, it's showing that I can't exactly remember what his location was showing, but my Life 360 location was showing something completely different. It was actually showing that his phone was like he was on LAN. And so we ended up, she received the phone from that parent, and then we met up where his car was, which was at a separate location. There were issues.
Okay, so the phone and the car were at separate locations. So the car was where he spent the night at.
Obtaining the key. But even so, there's just a lot of.
Tell them about what happened with the keys.
So
okay,
I'm gonna.
So we let Pops break down the key thing. But a parent had the phone. One of the parents of the other boys had the phone. So that's the whole phone and key situation. You know, I feel like they probably should have just, if they had the phone, I don't know how they discovered that they had the phone, but they probably should have given it over earlier, maybe, instead of them having to track it down and then go get it. But man, it's just a crazy story. Again, we're waiting for the autopsy. We're waiting for the autopsy here. And that is really going to tell us what happened. And it's going to put to rest all of these social media conspiracy theories. Now, again, with this photo that Ben Crump posted from Evan's Instagram, I think the next step is going to be figuring out when this was taken, because people are trying to say, oh, it was taken on the 5th that night, or basically after midnight or whatever. So Nolan did make it back home, but then he went missing after that. That is a narrative that's being spun online from the side that's saying, oh, you know, they did something to Nolan. And I'm ultimately waiting for the autopsy there, because that's going to tell us everything we need to know. So let's see. So yeah, I want to see the autopsy. But after that, it's kind of like we're stuck at an end of the road with this investigation without the autopsy, unless there are more witnesses to come forward or more videos or whatnot to come forward. So yeah, not really sure when that picture was taken. It very well could have been taken way earlier, before Nolan was reported missing. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and end the stream. I appreciate everybody for joining. Hey guys, make sure you interact with the stream. Check me out on YouTube, Instagram, Black Gen Z Mindset. Show support, hit the super trap, hit the Cash App, donate to the channel. Y'all see the banner where you can donate. Show some love. We cover hard-hitting stories every single day. I'm getting back to posting twice a day, and I'm definitely trying to do these live streams more. We got 275 people in the building. We are streaming from X as well, which gives us a larger audience. So if you are coming from the X audience, make sure you come to the YouTube audience and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But you already know what it is. It is your boy, the Black Gen Z Mindset. And we are going to conclude this stream. Guys, get in the comments immediately. Tell me your thoughts. You know, justice for Nolan Wells, whatever that looks like. Hopefully the truth comes out. And stay safe, y'all.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy, Jenquavius Jackson. And y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Frederick Douglass, where a shooting just took place. And as you can see, it's a pretty rough area. So I'm basically risking my life reporting on this madness. So make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Like the video, hell, share the video. And make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down in the comments section to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this gun violence in the streets. I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.